Hey guys, it's Josh, and I am super excited to share with you guys today what exactly I'm doing to go and find this online buried treasure, as we're calling it, in state departments across the United States for people. Specifically, I've focused on Tennessee because that's where I live and that's where I'm going to have my unclaimed property at. But you can actually use this for what we believe, or what I believe, is any state in the nation. And if you're a little confused by my greeting and what I'm exactly talking about, you're watching this video on YouTube more than likely. What I would encourage you to do is actually stop right here and go to the bottom of the description. There's a link to the post on our website about exactly what we're talking about. Let me just give you a little teaser real quick. I was actually able to claim, and this is real, I was able to claim $403.47 for myself because of some unclaimed property. And what had happened, I believe, is that the company that I was working for when I was in college, they sent me some wage reimbursement or something. I'm not sure, but it was over $250, and they couldn't find my address. They tried to send it to where I used to go to college, where I graduated from, and I wasn't there anymore, obviously, because I had graduated. So they just sent it to the Treasury Department. I looked it up on the database. I looked up my name to see if I had any unclaimed property. It doesn't just go for stuff like that. It's securities. We found one of my friend's grandfathers, and this is detailed on the post as well. We found his grandfather over $600 in like stock certificates and things like that, because they weren't able to find his address, or they had his name wrong or something like that. It's crazy. It's really cool. So if you haven't read that post yet, you need to go down to the description and click on that link and read it. However, if you already have read that post and you're at this video, it means you want to learn to look through the database and kind of how. Let me just tell you my story. Basically, I found out about this. I went to the website and I searched for my name, Josh Mackins, and nothing came up. And I had heard about, this unclaimed property division, so I was like, well, maybe there's just none for me. Let me check to see if I have some for my family, friends, coworkers, some of our clients, things like that. And actually, I own the local business internet marketing university, and this is normally what's behind me when I do our Google Plus Hangouts and resource videos and things like that. But for today, you can ignore all this. I'm just talking to you one-on-one about something completely off topic. But I was able to go through the database and look for some of my friends too, and my colleagues and clients and stuff like that, like I said, and I didn't find anything for anyone. But I had heard reports that people were finding, decent amounts of money, so I figured, it can't, there's something not right here. So I searched and I put in the last name Smith, and if you've read the post, you've read all this. And I found thousands of people with the name Smith, which isn't weird, right? There's a lot of people named Smith in Tennessee, I'm sure. But it just kind of spoke to me that maybe I'm not searching the database correctly. So I just went back in. Instead of typing in my full name, I just typed in my last name. And sure enough, bingo, there it was. I opened it up. It said I opened up the listing, which I'll show you how we're going to do that here in a second. It said over $250. I went through the claims process. I claimed it, and it told me it was $403. So I found some online buried treasure for myself. I've also found, I believe, over $2,200 for friends and family, and some of my clients too, which they absolutely love me now. And it's a really cool thing. So let's go ahead and get started. I am sharing my screen with you so you can actually see exactly what I do and how I do it. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing is that I am searching the Tennessee Department of Treasury, the database. This strategy is going to apply to people in California or Texas or wherever you're at, as long as as far as I know, each state has an unclaimed property division. It's just kind of standard, it seems like, from the research that I've done. And the only question is, do they use an online database, or do they use a database in their office that's offline? Every state that I've run into, and to be honest, I've only run into three. I've only looked three up. But Texas, Delaware, and California, the ones I did look up, they have electronic databases. So it makes me feel like that probably most states do. And we're actually going to have a running list on the post for you to check out. But anyways, if you're not using the Tennessee department, and if you don't live in Tennessee, you're not looking at it, it's okay. You're going to apply these same principles to your state's database, because what ended up happening to me was I spent 20 or 30 minutes thinking that I didn't have any money and trying to understand and figure out all the little tricks to search through the database. And then I spent 2 or 3 hours looking for other people. And I'm going to help you shorten that time drastically just by showing you what I learned from what I did. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So, whatever state that you live in, what you want to do is obviously go to the Unclaimed Property Division of that state. So, I just went up here and I typed in Tennessee Unclaimed Property, of course. You're going to substitute your state here. When I did that, and I'll just show you what I did. The first listing, I just typed it in Google, and the first listing that came up was Tennessee. Let me show you what happens when you do Texas, just as an example. Boom. Texas Unclaimed Property official website. So let's go back to Tennessee. And right down here you can go to their database. So I'm going to open that up. Okay, and when I got here, and this is the biggest problem, is that if you the crux of everything is actually finding the listing, which I know you're probably gonna say to yourself, well, Josh, of course that's the crux of it. But just keep in mind that if I hadn't spent 20 or 30 minutes, because I was just super curious how this was working and the amounts people could find and things like that, if I hadn't spent 20 or 30 minutes, I would have lost out on $403. If I had just gone in and said, oh, I can't find my name, Josh Mackins, then I would have lost out on a lot of money. So you need to be diligent in your search, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. The first thing is, do not type in your full name. Just type in your last name. I use the example of Smith, right? So let me just show you what that looks like. You're going to go to owner name. Don't worry so much about property ID. That's just a little identifier that they have that you're not going to know about anyway, I don't believe. But you're going to have to go down here and type in this little thing. And let's see here. This is actually a CAPTCHA is what it's called. Most of you probably aren't going to know what that means, but basically they're trying to make sure that people aren't hitting their database over and over and over. So they're going to put that up there and make you answer it every time to make sure you're not a robot or something like that. Okay, Smith. As you can imagine, there are hundreds of thousands, I would imagine. Well, maybe that's a little too bold. There's tens of thousands of people with the last name Smith in Tennessee, I'm sure. But I just did that, and let's just take a look just for fun. Let's see here. Smith, we don't know his address, but he's got $60 waiting on him. 36 for someone, over 250. And that's the really cool part about this is if someone has over $250, you don't know how much money they could have. It could be thousands. In my case, it was only a couple hundred more. But I heard a rumor, and we've talked about this on the post as well, that there was someone who found $40,000. So again, a rumor, not really sure how true that is. But what you want to do is you want to type in your last name. So for me, I typed in Mackins. Then I put in my little code, which this gets really tedious after a while, but you just have to go through it. And since my name is not a common last name, I was able to pull up my name immediately. Now it's no longer on here because I already claimed and went through the process and got my check. It's on the way to me. Apparently it takes about 3 weeks or so to get to you, but I'm already gone. But you can actually see, because my name isn't very common, these are all my relatives that live in Clarksville and Palmyra. So I'm going to call them up and let them know. I haven't even added them to my grand total yet. I need to do that. Oh wait, yes I did. Of my grand total of $2,200. And we're going to be having contests and stuff on the post to see who can claim the most, who has the most initial claim, things like that. But I'll contact these relatives of mine and let them know that they have money available, and it's not a lot necessarily. Let's just check it out real quick. $27, $36. But I mean, that's a dinner or a night out on the town for very little work. All you have to do is enter in your social security number, I think, and your date of birth, and you're off and running. So it was easy for me because I have a pretty easy last name, right? So, but what about someone who doesn't have an easy last name? Let's go with Davis, okay? And again, if you're not in Tennessee, that's okay, because your database is probably going to have the exact same capabilities that this database has. And this will save you hours of time trying to figure it out on your own, and it will save you from potentially missing some money, like I almost did. So my search of Davis returned 9,007 results, okay? It's going to be really hard for me to go through this. And the problem with this database, and probably with most state treasury databases, is if you don't type the name in exactly as it is not going to come up. So in my case, mine, I go by Josh, but my legal name is Joshua. So I typed in Josh Mackins. Well, that wasn't going to pull mine up. If I had typed in Joshua Mackins, it wouldn't have pulled my listing up. I had to type in Mackins Joshua, just how they had it, and it would have come up. So you need to do a lot of digging in this. So what I do, we have 9,007 results, okay? I go ahead and drill down by city. All right, let's say that you're from Nashville. Okay, so wow, there's a lot of options here. Normally, there's not this many, but let's go with. And also, here's another thing. You see how these are spelled differently? There's like 10 entries for Nashville. This is the problem. The reason these people can't find you to give you their money or to give you their money that you're due is because they either don't know where you live, they've misspelled how you live, they've had a return check because they typed in Nashville or they wrote Nashville on the check or on the envelope that they sent to you in your mail and it got returned for whatever reason. I guess the post office couldn't figure out what Nashville meant. But that's the thing is you're looking for oddities. That's the reason they haven't been able to get you anything. Your name is different. They tried to send it to your maiden name if you're a woman, and they couldn't get it to you. You're a junior. Things like that. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But you need to search, exhaust everything: your middle name, your first name, your last name, variations in your name. If you just use your last name, though, normally that's going to pull up everything. And what you want to do is you want to drill down by city. And these different city options, if you're from Nashville, I would look at all of them. But for our purposes, I click on every single one of them. But for our purposes, we're just going to pick this first one up. Okay. Now that I picked a city, it dropped it to 5 results, and these are much more manageable. Sometimes it's not going to drop it to that many, though. So let's see with Murfreesboro. Let's see if we've got. Nope. Let's try one more. 161. There we go. Okay. So what you can do is here, look at all these pages. If you have 161 results with 10 per page, that's 16 pages. I know you don't want to go through 16 pages of results. So what you can do is you can drop it down to 50. And then now we've got, what is that going to be? What is that? 4 pages with 10 left over on the 4th page. So now it's much easier to search through. And remember, middle name, first name, variations of spelling in your first name. For instance, Chris and Christopher. Maybe that's why they couldn't get your check to you for whatever reason. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to do that, but you have to be careful. And here, case in point, Christopher. You may not go by Christopher. You may go by Chris, but you need to check all the variations in your name, your middle name, junior, all that stuff. Okay. Now, if you have a big list like this, you can just do the eyeball. You can just go through and look, or if you want to do a quick sweep, you can hit Control F, and that brings up the find function. For those of you who don't know what that is, you can type in letter or you can type in a word, and if it's on the web page, it'll find it for you immediately. So I just type in Chris, and sure enough, it picked up Chris, highlighted it, boom, my name's Christopher Davis. And let's just look, see how much money I got. 59 bucks and $7.80. So I got 66, 67, whatever. I got 60 bucks just off of a couple of seconds. Okay. So that's really what you need to be doing. You need to be searching by your last name. Also, if you're a woman, make sure you search by your maiden name as well. Make sure you're drilling down by city, but also don't forget that you may be in different cities. If you've moved, search every city that you've ever lived in. If you really feel like it, and you don't have if you feel like going through all the results, I mean there were 9,007 for Davis. If you feel like going through all those results just to make absolutely sure, take city off of it and look through, because that's all the records they have for the person with the last name Davis in the state of Tennessee. That's all they have. So you can do that. I would encourage you to go ahead and drill down to 50 results per page, but that will help. Another thing to consider is that while this is, we have been talking about personal, really this is business as well. You can type in businesses that you've owned in the past. Like I said, I didn't go into this exactly, but the $40,000 I talked about earlier in the video, that was actually from a company that someone had sold, and they were still getting commissions and kickbacks from products that, I guess, royalties in a sense, from companies that they had done business with before. And the rumor is that it added up to 40,000. The only reason I say rumor is this person that I talked to swears it's true, but I don't know them very well, so I'm not going to tell you it's true. But it just kept building up. He had $40,000, and I don't know why they couldn't get it to him. It may have been that they were sending it to the old business address, and obviously he's not there anymore. So they were getting returned, and he returned them to the Treasury. So that is I think that's pretty much it. This is how you search the database. This is how you drill down. Remember that these search engines are not very sophisticated. They're not Google. Google uses synonyms and pulls in all sorts of data. They have over 200 different search signals that they look at when they rank a website for a query that you are searching. Okay, this Tennessee Department of Treasury is not Google. Any state Department of Treasury is not Google. Okay, they are very not archaic. I don't want to insult them, but it gets the job done. But you need to take it upon yourself. You need to take the onus of finding your actual listing. And the best way to do that, like I said, is search by your last name. Find places that you've lived, drill down there. And the coolest part about all this, I got $403, but I'm not even really excited about. I mean, I'm excited about $403. Don't get me wrong, but the best feeling is calling people up and saying, "Hey man, I found you $60. Hey man, I found you, $30. Hey, I found you over $250," and then waiting with them on the phone as they find out exactly how much money they have. It is an absolute blast. It's so much fun. So that's why we call it online buried treasure. This is money. Before this happened to me, I had no idea this even existed, and now I'm just hooked. So I encourage you to share this on Facebook, share this on Twitter, share it on LinkedIn, Google Plus, emails, call people, find money for your friends, your family, your colleagues, people. Just go through your Facebook list and just start looking for people. And remember, you may be able to find them a lot of money and let them know, but also equip them to find it for themselves, because they may have a maiden name you don't know about. They may have lived in 5 or 6 different cities in Tennessee that you don't know about. They may have also lived in other cities in the United States where they can go look at their online databases and find even more money. So go find money for them and then surprise them and love on them a little bit, but equip them to also to find more money for themselves. Send them to our post. Send them to the video and let them watch it and see kind of how we did it and equip them with that knowledge. So again, share it on all your social networks, call people, send them emails, and let's just have a little bit of fun with this, guys. Can we do that? Awesome. Well, if you guys have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments below. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you can comment on the YouTube video. We'll check it out. But also try to go to the post on our website. The link is in the description again, and leave comments there. If you're watching this video on our website, go ahead and leave a comment in the post and continue with the post. There's a little bit more after this video for you to check out. So go ahead and check that out as well. And let's have a blast with this, guys. All right?